informational story, but it's a hint that gets your mind thinking that way. If it looks like a bunch of cartoons, there's a chance it might be a story. It can still be factual, but it's usually not. All right, good. All right. Oh, go ahead, read. Oh, yeah, that's a good point. You've read stories like this before, and you know that when you see a real-life picture, that sometimes inside the book there's going to be facts. Okay, good. I'm glad you're thinking about other books you've seen to help you make predictions. Well, when we get to the end of the story, we'll try and see if our predictions are correct or not. Now, I have gotten to read the story, so I think you guys are on the right trail. Okay, as we read the story today, we are going to make quite a few stops. Now, our stops today are going to be talking about the types of words that are in this story. Now, you know, a couple weeks ago, we started spending some time talking about describing words. Words that tell about naming words, right? Okay, and we had a big people word for it. We call them, what is it called? Yeah, go ahead, Daniel. Good. Adjectives. Yep, those describing words are called adjectives. Now, as we read this today, we're going to try to find some of those adjectives. We might talk about some nouns and some other kinds of words too. All right, let's get started. This story was written by Carol McLinnick. All right, and she had a purpose when she wrote it. She wrote it for the Australian Museum. So they asked her to put this together, and she did. Frogs. All right, one page at a time. I hope that's lighter than it looks, that you can see that. There are thousands of different types of frogs. Frogs are many sizes and colors. And you know what I noticed already? There's already describing words on these pages. They might not be the obvious ones. I'm going to say something funny. The ones that jump out at us. Get it? I know, Huxley, get it? Jump out at us. All right, Kaden, it looks like you're groaning. All right, what I mean by that is some adjectives are almost hidden. Did you know the word, I'm going to show it to you, thousands can be an adjective? It certainly can. And do you know why? Adjectives describe how many. And here when it tells us there are thousands of different types of frogs, it's telling us something about how many. Now here's another strange way to find a describing word. Wait till you see this. Many. Doesn't it sound funny to say many can describe how many? So it's an adjective. I know, it's almost like we're playing with words. But here it says, frogs are many sizes and colors. Yeah, so many is describing in that sentence. All right, let's turn the page. The Australian tree frog is as big as a hand. Let's play a little game with this. I'm going to show you two words. Can you see them there? All right, I'll put it here so you can still look at that picture if you want to. What's this word here? Mason? Big, good job. And this word, all right, let's call on Angie. Hand, good job. If you think the describing word is big, I want you to point this way. If you think the describing word is hand, point that way. Oh, look it. I see lots of people pointing over there. Yes, you are. Because big is telling us about the size of the frog. It's as big as a hand. Now, they use an interesting way to describe. It's called a simile because they use the word as. We don't talk about similes a lot in kindergarten, but we do use them a lot. But big is the describing word on this page. The buzzing frog is as small as a fingernail. Can you imagine seeing a frog that tiny? You'd have to look closely, wouldn't you? Okay, let's look at two words from this page written a little bit bigger so we can see them. If you think frog is a describing word, point at this word. If you think small is a describing word, point over here. All right, I'll give you a chance to look and point. All right, excellent. Capri, why is everyone pointing over to the word small? Oh, It describes the size, doesn't it? Good girl. What about the word frog? What would we consider that? Tyler? Good. It's a naming word. It names a person, place, or a thing. In this case, we would call it a thing. That's what we usually say when we talk about animals, that they are naming words. All right, let's go on to our next page. White-lipped frogs are as long as a fork. Look at it. If you look closely, see how it looks like he has white lips? Yeah. And that's not lipstick. That's really what his lips look like. All right, let's look at two words from that page. This word says white. This word says fork. Everybody get their fingers ready and point. All right, Hunter, which way did you point? You pointed at the word white. White is describing the frog's lips. It tells us about its color. All right, great job, everyone. Many frogs live in damp places. Some frogs live by creeks and marshes. Boy, there's a lot of big words on that page. Two of the big words on this page are damp and creeks. One describes, the other one tells us about a place. All right, which one are you going to point at? Okay, everyone, get ready and point. All right, Luigi, which one do you think? Yes, damp. Do you know what damp means? Who can explain that to me? Nora, go ahead. Oh, you're going to use it in a sentence? Wow, that's great. Oh, when you came in from playing outside, your socks were damp. That makes me think that they were a little bit wet. Not like you got them all the way wet, but they were just a little bit moist. Yep, damp describes a moist, wet area, but not sopping wet, okay? What's a creek? Ishi, you've gotten to play in a creek before? What's that like? Oh, kind of like a stream. Not usually big like a lake, but a small body of water. Oh, sometimes you can hear it make noise as the water goes over the rocks. It sounds like fun to me. All right, let's see what's next. Some frogs live in gardens near taps and ponds. Taps. What's a tap? Oh, is that true, Mason? Oh yeah, we have one. If I look out my window, I can see one right outside my door. Okay, so it's that little knob where you can turn the water on. I wonder why they'd like to be there. Oh, because they're leaky sometimes, and sometimes it makes a moist, damp area for the frog. That makes sense. Hey, you know what? A lot of years we do have a frog that'll live right outside by our tap. I wonder if they won't come back as much, though, because Mr. Finkel worked on fixing our leaky tap last year. All right, let's look at two words. We've got garden and some. That's tricky. Okay, tell me what you already know. All right, go ahead, Sama. Yes, a garden has to be a naming word because it's a place, okay? So now we know that our describing word must be some. Lou, how is it a describing word again? Oh, because it tells how many. Yes, and adjectives can tell how many. All right, so we read that one. Let's read this one. Some frogs live in trees and in rainforests. I guess in that case, the word rain is telling us what kind of forest, isn't it? Some frogs burrow into damp ground. Oh, look at, we've got a repeat of a word. We have burrow and damp. Now we know that damp means kind of wet, right? Okay, do you know the word burrow? Okay, Jason, what does burrow mean? Oh, like to dig down in? Okay. So which one of those would be describing? Okay, yep, go ahead. Whose turn is it? All right, let's hear from you, Claudia. Go ahead, sweetheart. Oh, you're right. Damp tells us that the dirt or the ground is kind of wet, so it's describing it. Good listening, Claudia. Thank you. Frogs have 4 fingers on each hand and 5 toes on each foot. Many frogs have webs of skin between their fingers and toes that help them swim. Wow, they were made for that special habitat, weren't they? All right, well, let's look at a couple more words. We have for and swim. Now, this is the number 4, not like F-O-R, like I got this for you, okay? All right, Salvatore, help us out. Which one? Oh, of course. He says 4 because 4 describes how many fingers they have. Oh, yeah, you like to swim? Mm-hmm. True, when you're swimming, it's something you can do. Good point. Yes, so that would not be a describing word. It's a doing word. All right, thank you. All right. Frogs eat insects, spiders, and worms. Some frogs eat larger animals, such as lizards, mice, or even other frogs. Ugh. All right, I'm getting a little bit grossed out, but that's okay. Sometimes science can be a little bit gross. All right. Lizards and larger, both L words. Did you hear that? Oh, good. All right, now what do? Do I call on Lou or Luigi? Are you going to both answer at the same time? Aha. They're both pointing at larger, because larger is describing, in this case, the animals, what they're like. Lizards, yep, still a naming word. That's a noun. Male frogs make a croaking sound. They puff up the vocal sac under their chin, which makes the sound louder. Look at that. See how I could describe that as kind of bloated? Uh-huh. It didn't use that word in the book, but I'm thinking about it. Most female frogs lay eggs in water. We learned that, didn't we, when we read that Curious George book? The eggs hatch into tadpoles, which don't look like frogs at all in the beginning. After a while, tadpoles grow arms and legs and lose their tails. Then we can recognize them as frogs. We know about that life cycle, don't we? Mm-hmm. Most frogs move about at night and sleep during the day. A little bit like the tooth fairy, right? Yeah, we would call that nocturnal. They do a lot of their moving around at night. Well, boys and girls, as I was looking for which book I thought we should share together today, I was having a hard time choosing. There's so many great stories about frogs. We won't have time to get into them all, but I wanted to show you this title. It's called Flashy, Fantastic Rainforest Frogs. Did you find some describing words in there? All right, who wants to tell me? Aviana? Yes, flashy. Flashy describes them. Okay, another one. Okay, boy, I feel like I'm missing calling on someone. Who's hiding out on me today? Okay, the other Nora. Fantastic. And I'm not just saying that your answer is fantastic. I'm saying you're right. Fantastic describes those frogs. And they're the rainforest kind, too. Yeah. Boy, when I look through this page, look at this book. Page after page of frogs with different colors, different shapes, different sizes. It reminded me of this book that I've liked for a long time. This is an old one I had that talks about the different colors in the rainforest. And look at, I'm going to do a quick flip through this because we only have seconds before this is going to stop. Look at, there's red frogs. They found a yellow frog. I know, I'll wash my hands, sorry. They saw a blue frog. Look at that. And somewhere there was even a green frog. Oh, there it is. The red-eyed